Welcome back, everyone, to Final Fantasy XIV. Last time we left off, we had beaten the big bad of Stormblood, so let's see what Lise has to say. We did it. We liberated Alamigo. I don't know what to say. I don't even know how to feel about all this. Relief, I suppose. Pride and hope, too. We did it, Father. Ida, Popolo, Conrad, Milfred, Menvila. We really did it. Hey, don't feel like you have to stand there listening to me mumble. Everyone else will want to talk to you. You beat him, after all. You're the real hero of the story, so run along and take your plaudits. Alright. Let's go ahead and talk to some people, then. For you to best Xenos, even after you had harnessed the power of Primal, is a testament to your ever-growing strength. Not bitter to have your vengeance stolen from you by another. There is some small regret, perhaps, but that is outweighed by the satisfaction to find in his death. I commend you, Naren. As should we all. Xenos was a monster and a tyrant, the man who killed my father and countless other of my countrymen. The world is a better place without a minute. I should also praise Master Alphanod for all his foresight and restraint. Had he not intervened, I might have never had the pleasure of being reunited with Hakuro and his Lupin brothers. It was a timely intervention, full glad I am not to have been burdened by the guilt of killing my Lord Hien's most trusted allies. Indeed, my friend, indeed. I guess we're just gonna have to keep on moving around here and finding them each spot. Okay. Can you believe it? We won. We beat the bastards. Alamigo. Alamigo. Sorry, I got a bit carried away there, didn't I? It's not hard to, you know? We owe it to the friends we buried to shout and scream and cheer with all our hearts. I want them to know it wasn't for nothing. That it's finally over and they can rest in peace. You hear that, lads? We'll be alright. We'll be... Oh, bugger, not again. I'm so bleeding happy I could cry. After all we've been through, I really should know better than to worry, but as ever, the relief I found upon finding you hale and whole in the world Manjare well nigh reduced me to tears. The Warrior of Light victorious again. I should be surprised if some part of you has not come to resent that title and its responsibilities which accompany it. Just forgive us if we call you hero when you accomplish heroic feats. As the Warrior Light goes, so does the world. You should take pride in the good you have done, and in the good you have inspired others to do. You are a natural-born leader of men, Naren. All those people weren't just following their commanders, they were following you. You led them to victory, to freedom. Alas, not everyone could see the journey to its end, but history shall remember them and the glorious future they made possible. We have one last one to talk to over here. The hero of the hour, I suppose we'll have to add Liberator to your titles. With their commander fallen, the remainder of the 12th chose to surrender to our forces. After 20 young years, it's official. The occupation has ended. But now the hard work starts. Though the people have had their fill of kings, there is no clear consensus on what sort of government they would prefer instead. Indeed, Father, momentous as the achievement may be, the road which lies ahead before us is no less uncertain than the one we have walked. Aye, aye. Yeah, if we can overcome 2 decades of oppression, I have no doubt we can find a way forward. Thank you, Naren, for helping to make this dream a reality. Alright, time to talk to Lise again. Not seeing her. Down there? Oh yeah, she is down there, okay. I thought she maybe had moved up, then. Finish your rounds, great. In that case, I'd like you to come back with me. Back to Regular's Reach. Not for a rematch or anything, sadly I want to call all the signs together, I'll explain later. I don't even know where to begin. Oh, we got our last Ether Current.
We've been through a lot together, haven't we? I can't thank you enough. There's something I need to say to you all. That is, if you have a moment. Good. You're all here. Good. Good. Thank you doesn't really suffice, does it? I'm grateful. Truly grateful from the bottom of my heart. But I know you didn't fight so hard just to hear me or anyone else say that. You fought because you wanted to help, because you believed it was right. Because you're scions. Now, I'm obviously a scion, but as Conrad left me in charge of things here, I also have responsibilities to Alamigo. When I put it like that, though, I realized I couldn't even pretend to be impartial anymore. So it seemed best to make it official. As long as I serve Alamigo, I can't be a scion. It might be selfish and short-sighted, but that's my decision.
Am I to understand that you summoned us all, some of us still nursing wounds, to hear this?
Oh, I didn't,
Forgive me, Lise. 'Twas but a jest. But this I say with the utmost sincerity. Scion or no, we are comrades, now and ever after. Is that not so? There you have it. Come what may, you may count on us in your hour of need. We shall never refuse you.
Stola. Oh, gods. I swore I wouldn't cry.
Come back here, you slippery little devil. Ah, to think fishing could be so difficult. What greater proof of a man's lingering mortality than an empty belly? A fate worse than death. Find it. To have arrived at the appointed place and time only to survive by mere force of habit. Truly, the Kami are not finished with us yet. Oh, capricious fortune. How you test me with this wretched soul.
This is indeed the work of either Shinryu or Omega. And since there's undoubtedly something down there radiating a massive amount of energy, which cannot very well be the late Viceroy's lap dragon, yes, I think we have our suspect. Oh, this is a mess of our own making, so it falls to us to clean up. It won't be easy, but is it ever? Now comes the part where you say you've got no choice but to divert company resources and employees to this pet project of yours. Lost profits and delivered clients be damned. Financial considerations notwithstanding, you have to admit there is a quantifiable benefit in giving our people the opportunity to study this advanced technology. Oh, is that before or after you blow it up or seal it away? Fine, fine, but the moment I judge this little venture an sustainable risk to the ironworks, I'm ending it, savvy? And to keep you honest, using my authority as a deputy president, I've gone ahead and brought in a consultant, a master engineer and mechanical genius. You didn't. Come now, you mustn't build your expectations too high. It would be less dramatic when I surpass them. Oh no, absolutely not. This is not happening. Scava, eager to begin his first story as a loyal member of the Ironworks team. Looking forward to working with you, Garlon. Oh dear. So fell Hunter, but what of the Hound? So was the children, but what of the father? I'm also surprised Gogetsu actually survived along with that woman, with an entire castle crashing down on them. Not in any way was I expecting that. Yeah, we've unlocked every... I'm pretty sure we've unlocked every current in this expansion. Yes, very nice. So that means in the base game we can fly, in Heaven's Ward we can fly anywhere, in Stormblood we can fly anywhere, and then there's obviously the next area we have to get to eventually. And I guess this puts us at patch, the in-between patches at this point, I think.
Come to see how we're getting on? We've made good progress since we took back Alamigo, but there's one big issue we still have to address. Leadership. The Domans had Lord Hien ready and willing to take the throne, but we've got no one like that here. Theodoric was our last ruler, and he wasn't called the Mad King for nothing.
Suffice it to say, our people have had their fill of kings, which means we need to find a new way forward.
If only it were that easy. Everyone and his uncle has an opinion. For the time being, we're just going to have to keep leaning on General Aldin and the Alliance for support, and see if we can't find a solution together. Something tells me we're going to be hosting a lot of meetings in the near future. But if that's what it takes, I'm ready to talk till my jaw aches. The Reach is yours, Nago. Don't do anything I wouldn't.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Ah, there you are. I've been searching all over for you. Don't worry, it's nothing bad. That said, this might not be the best place to talk. Will you join me? I'll get to the point. Might you be interested in a spot of adventure? After all, we were adventurers before we were scions, were we not? After routing the Imperials and liberating El Amigo, I reckon we've earned a bit of respite, don't you? And what better way to spend it than by returning to our roots? So, what say you? Shall we call on Alphino and go adventuring?
It's what we do, I suppose. It's actually been a little bit of time since I've last played this. Like, after beating that last trial, I stopped playing for like, I think probably about 3 weeks? Something along those lines. Right then, let's go and find Master Lovnior. Actually, leave that to me. I want you fresh for our little venture. Wait for us by the Aetheryte. We'll be along shortly. See you there. I think at this point, though, we should be able to get what I wanted to get before we did all that dungeon trialing, so let's see if I can't find it now. This is still Raglar's Reach, isn't it? Yeah, it is, I think. Yeah. So let's go see if we can unlock our level 70 gear. Like, it should be, I think, over this way. I think anyways. I want to say it's like in this area somewhere. Aha, here we go. We found it. I'm kind of curious, though. Okay, so it's not this stuff that would be to our best interest. It would actually be this stuff here. What actually is my stuff with this? It's like 200 something, isn't it? Yeah, it's only 282, so this must be like the good stuff. Then the helmet. I think there was one other thing that was like 500 something. Yeah, okay. It actually is not going to be enough. That's interesting. Okay. I'm going to be missing a pair of gauntlets until I can get it. But we're off to a good start, I'll say that. It kind of sucked that I couldn't get the stuff ahead of time, because I lost like a couple hundred tombstones not being able to get what I needed to from that. But we're slowly making it. $326 so far. Just need the gauntlets to cover the entire armor piece, and then we'll have to go for the accessories and weapon shield after that. But the rest of that, accessories and weapon shield, I think aren't too expensive, thankfully. Actually, I'm not seeing a shield in here. The one thing I'm not sure on is why I'm not seeing a, maybe it's gear exchange? I don't know, I guess I could figure it out later on. Greetings, Arn. It would seem we are to accompany Arenvad on some manner of escape. Have you any idea of what we've gotten ourselves into? Allow me to explain. It'd be something of a history lesson, but I'll try to be brief. No snoring, if you please. Now, the events I would speak of occurred before the occupation, back when Alamigo was still a monarchy, and Theodoric sat on the throne. A uniquely brutal despot from all accounts. That he was, the King of Ruin suffered no rivals, real or imagined, and his dispute with the monks of the Fist ended with regulars reaching burned to the ground. In the latter years of his rule, he seized by unshakable belief that unseen forces were conspiring to steal his crown, and so he ordered that every soul with a claim to the throne be executed, including his own family. The wealth of the poor sods he put to death became the property of the king, and it's said that these royal treasures were hoarded somewhere in the palace. Thus was born the legend of the Mad King's Trove. I believe I see the direction of our adventures to take. I assume you have in mind to unearth this hidden bounty. You assume correctly. And would I also be correct in assuming that this legend is widely known? Others must have surely gone in search of the prize, tempting as it seems. Of course, we won't be the first to make the attempt. Following Alamigo's liberation, more than a few eager soldiers turned the palace upside down in hopes of claiming an easy fortune. But even after scouring every room from dawn till dusk, they uncovered not a single coin. Their gold loss drained away as quickly as it come, and the legend of the Mad King's Trove remains simply that, a legend. I see you have no intention of letting that story end there. What self-respecting adventurer would? Imagine the three of us delving into a decades-old mystery. Tell me that thought doesn't set your heart to racing. in a boxy mode, okay. Looks like it should still be here, though. It looks like the Omega quest is over that way, too. Ooh. Curious enough, but, The news of Doma and Alamigo's liberation has kindled the flames of revolution in every corner of the Empire. I hear the Imperial province of Damaska has already risen up in rebellion. Which means the Garlanians may surely have their hands full. What better time than now to indulge in such a diversion? Tell us, Arnrevald. Have we any clues as to begin our search? Well, judging by how the other treasure hunters fared, nosing about their tiles isn't likely to get us anywhere, so we'll likely need to, ask around. Would that be another way of saying no? Well, yes. Let's see, in that case, I shall pay a visit to the Allied Archegist and request access to the record seized from the Imperials. The Garlanians are meticulous about such things. If they uncover the trove during their occupation, the event is certain to be recorded. In the meantime, the two of you can track down those who worked as palace servants and officials in Theodoric's days. Given that they would be at least 20 at the time, you'd be looking for people who have seen 40 summers or more. Anything that can tell you about the king and his bloody deeds may prove useful, so be sure to listen well. Arnvald, pray try your luck in the fringes and peaks when Arn makes the rounds in the Alamigan quarter. Yeah, and here I was thinking I was the party leader. Not that I mind, of course. Let's be about it, eh? We can meet afterwards at Gilbard's gate. If that treasure trove has some accessories in it, that actually would help out a bit. Where am I heading, actually? Alamigan corner. Okay, so they're wanting us to go over to Alamiga. Just get our giant bird out, why not? Wow, this is a log fly. Actually, can I fly over the top of this? Yeah, apparently I can. Okay. You want to hear about an old maid's stories, do you? Aye, well, most of what I know of the Mad King is common knowledge. You'd only see his royal majesty when he didn't attend the executions he'd ordered. After a while, even watching his enemies die wasn't enough to coax him out of hiding. They say he started seeing assassins in every shadow, and wouldn't set foot outside the palace walls. I was offered to work there as a royal servant once, but the mere thought of that left me in a cold sweat. Okay, this next one isn't too far, so we'll just run up there. In the palace, no, not me, lass. Sure you've heard stories of the Mad King. He used to hold public executions up in the Divine Audience. Anyone suspected of conspiring against the crown was flung from the top of those steps. Suffice to say, I'd stay as far away from the palace as possible. Let's talk to the local mender. There we go. I think we can just go ahead and fly and find where this other spot is. I served at the pleasure of the King Thorak and lived to tell a tale. One of the palace guards I was. Truth be told, it was a dark chapter in my life, and one I'd soon forget. Hardly a night went by when we didn't hear blood-curdling screams echoing from the inner chambers, which of course were under orders to ignore. So we'd stand still as statues, trying not to imagine what horrors were unfolding within. If you're hell's-bent on finding out what happened in the palace, head down the street here and ask old Arnold. He was the king's head scribe. Let's go ahead and find this guy then. Yes, I'm Arnold. What do you want with me? You have had me dredge up some decidedly unsavory memories. If Alamigos to move forward, we must needs acknowledge the misdeeds of the past. Very well, I shall tell you what I remember. I take it you know of Derek's paranoia and the public executions of his kinsmen. Those were terrible enough, but in his last days the king's fevered mind settled upon an even grislier method of disposal, which only a few were unfortunate enough to witness. His Majesty ordered the court thaumaturge to unleash a vile curse upon the remaining members of the royal family. The magic which transformed them into fiends of heinous aspect. The resulting monstrosities were then cast into the darkness below the palace. Even now my sleep is troubled by nightmares. If others of Theodoric's blood were prone to share his madness, then mayhap it was a kindness that the monarchy ended with him. Don't know how far we have to go. Are we heading straight out of the walls here? Or no, he's right there, okay. Since we're all here, why don't we share what we've learned? Let me do it again then. As promised, I scoured the Imperial records for any mention of fantastic treasures and found precisely none. It's just as possible, I suppose, that a corrupt official deliberately hid the fact of the trove's discovery, hoping to enrich himself, but I find it rather unlikely that so valuable a find would stay a secret for long. I conclude that our prize either does not exist or that the Imperials somehow overlooked it. What of you, Narn? Were your investigations any more fruitful? Turn to the monsters? What could he mean by darkness beneath the palace, I wonder? I met an old man, Aigiri, who spoke of this palace's subterranean prison, but he said not of accursed abominations. The Imperial archives are also silent on the subject of fiends inside the palace grounds. But this scribe fellow had been spinning her yarn, do you think? Do you believe him, Naran? Yeah, he seemed pretty afraid. If he was afraid, then that does lend credence to the tale, though I'm not sure how that helps us in our search. Do not be too hasty. Arnold's antidote may very well have told us where the trove is hidden, but ere I share my theory, there is a matter I could clarify. Arnvald, you spoke of a light-hearted adventure, but I sense a deeper motive for this expedition. Why are you so intent on finding this treasure? It wasn't all pretense, I swear it, but you're right. My father was in the Imperial Army. A man of Garlinian blood, I trust you know what I mean when I say that my Alamiga mother did not welcome my arrival. As I grew, she would check my brow over and over, convinced that the spot on my skin was an emerging third eye, like the kind you see in pure-blooded Garlinians. My mother did not care for this taunting reminder of my heritage, took up a knife. War paint serves to cover the scar. In the end, she turned me out into the street, and I was left to haunt the alleyways of Alamigo, a feral child who got what he needed through begging, cunning, and worse. Best I could say about the years that followed is that I survived, but I hated the animal I'd become. Eventually I left the city behind me and joined a group of refugees bound for the other side of the wall. It was then that I turned to adventuring, and then the road led me into the company of the Scions. I'll tell you this so you can understand. I know all too well what poverty and hunger can do to a person. I drew steel and ornate folk for a music crust of bread. With Theodoric's gold, I could spare my countrymen the shame of living like that. Thank you, Ironfall, and I apologize. That cannot be been pleasant to recall. I felt it's best to be clear in our intentions. Well, Narn, are you content to surrender the treasure to Arnvald's noble cause and claim the thrills of adventure as your reward? I should be glad to tell you my theory on the resting place of the Mad King's Trove, if you are minded to hear it. Okay, let's see what this coffer has for us here. Oh, we did get something good here. Okay. I don't think it gave us a shield, though. Okay, it gave us accessories, apparently. So let me see if I've covered what I got here. Okay, that did help us a little bit. The other thing we're missing is another ring. Yeah, that puts us to 355, which is not bad. Actually, maybe it'd be better if we just first adjoin to a more suitable location. In case a rival treasure hunter overhears our plans, you mean? Good thinking. That was not exactly the reason, but 'tis certainly a valid concern. Let us reconvene on the southern edge of Loch Zed. That is a very long wall. Yeah, it looks neat from up here, I have to say. You can really see the salt lake here. Forgive me, 'twas not my intention to draw out proceedings. I simply wished to have the lock in sight while I explained things. Prior to the Great Flood, the sixth unbroken calamity, the salt lakes you see before you were yet dry ravines. This, believe it or not, was the site of the ancient city of Scala, which rose and fell during the 5th Astral Era. For what we know of the period, the city was already deserted by the time the waters began to rise. Having been all but destroyed by war, yet its ruins remain to this day at the bottom of Loch Zed. It is my belief that the darkness beneath the palace mentioned by Theodoric's former scribe was not a reference to the prison, but to a place still further below, the ruins of Scala. I further surmise that the Mad King's unfortunate kingsmen were cast down there not simply out of desire to punish them, but to discourage exploration. Theodoric wanted to keep the ruins secure. Wait, you're saying they're meant to guard the Mad King's trove? Precisely, and since we know the court Thaumaturge was involved, we can safely assume that any entrance into the old city would have been magically concealed. Which will explain how a legion of Imperial soldiers and the gods know how many Alamegans ever found a trace of the trove. We, however, have certain advantages which they did not enjoy. Narn, would you be so good as to swim down to the bottom of the loch and search for an underwater route into the ruins? While you do that, Arnvald and I will seek out an unsourceable portal within the palace. Alright. I think this would probably be a good stopping spot for today. So we'll be able to just, yeah, I'm assuming we have to dive underneath here. There we go. I was wondering why it wasn't working. Okay, there's definitely ruins down here. And I think I think these might be enemies? I'm not sure. I'm not seeing any, like, name titles on them, so maybe not. Oh, I guess they're just plants. Okay. You discover a passage that seems to lead to under the palace foundations. Press on to find out where it goes. Hey, we got a door. Maybe it's sealed there? Go to a worn stone door, staying temporarily ajar. It would appear you have found an entrance in the subterranean ruins. Now it's off and on. We have searched the prison beneath the palace and found a door concealed by enchantments. Have you ought to report? You believe it leads into the ruins? Excellent. Then I propose we proceed for our prospective entry points and look to meet somewhere in the middle. Oh, come on, you two. We may as well make it a race. Victor cuts the first adventure to find the treasure. Godspeed. Oh, okay, that's a dungeon right off the bat there. I was not expecting that. Okay, then never mind then. I guess I'm gonna have to, like, stop the video here and, go ahead and see about getting that dungeon done, so let me go ahead and see that.